Дякуємо за авто підписникам Mercado Media. В цей час воно нам дуже необхідно.
Дякуємо глядачам каналу Mercado Media за збір на цю автівку. Слава ЗСУ!
Слава Україні! Я головний сержант 2-ї саперної інженерної роти 33-го окремого інженерного батальйону. Хочу висловити подяку Mercado та його підписникам за таку чудову машину. Ця машина нас приведе ближче до перемоги. Победа за нами, слава Україні!
Hi guys, today I want to appreciate the Mercado Media, all the friends and subscribers and the Navy community for this wonderful pickup truck. Слава Україні!
Героям слава! Всім привіт! Я Вадим, позивний режисер, 42-га окрема механізована бригада. Ми зараз ведемо бої на Харківщині. Дякую Mercado Media і всім підписникам його каналу за придбаний автомобіль. Він дозволить нам ефективно і успішно виконувати бойові завдання на Харківщині. Я сподіваюся, що цей автомобіль дозволить швидше здобути нашу перемогу. Слава Україні!
I want to give a big thank you to Mercado Media and Johnny FD, two close friends who have helped me create this fundraiser between ourselves to help raise funds for what is needed essentially on the front line. And I also want to give a big thank you to both Mercado Media and Johnny FD's followers for helping us achieve this goal of funding the first car for our fundraiser. The car is going to be put to good use on the front lines in aiding us with helping to carry out our mission and also helping us to clear Ukraine of the invader. Slava Ukraini.
Thank you, Mercado Media, Johnny FD, Kostak Gundi, and all your subscribers for the generous donation of this van. It will help us with our logistics in the International Legion.
Dear friends of NAFO, my name is Pete, hasta la vista, from Project Constantine. This beautiful beast was donated to the brigade that we're friendly with in the forest here, 67 Brigade. 69th Infantry Brigade donating to 67. It's pretty cool. I keep bumping into this vehicle in the forest. We never have time. We never have time to actually make any videos or get inside your vehicle and do any missions with it because we're like passing ships in the night here. But Mercado Media, Andrew, you NAFO supporters, it's beautiful to see this grand vehicle that you've got for this brigade because it's a reliable vehicle and I've never seen it anywhere other than in the forest. I've never seen it in the garage. And yes to that, and all Ukrainians must live. Bakhmut is Ukraine. This forest is Ukraine. And Mercado Media and NAFO, you guys are here supporting us, man, and we freaking love you to pieces. Thank you for what you're doing for the soldiers of Ukraine. God bless you. To victory. Do peremoje.
Hello everybody, happy Monday. I gotta open this. Up. Happy Monday, y'all. Check into the stream. How you doing today? How you doing today? I hope you had a fantastic weekend. I hope your days have been going good. We had good protest coverage on Saturday. We had Rage Against the Regime protests, and people went out and gathered and were smashing stuff and protested, and there's a live band, and it was a pretty cool stream. So shout out to everybody that was in there. A little different than what we've been used to with the gatherings and the marches and all that. A little different, unconventional, but it was still cool. And I appreciate everybody that showed up to support the independent coverage of the protest. So I appreciate that, and that will continue, guys. No matter what's going on, I will always be at the monthly protests, and more protests are starting to pop up and are planned, and I got pamphlets and flyers to figure out so I can plan to be at more of them, so I can be outside a little more. Hello, Gene. Everybody drop a plus in the chat. If you could, check in. Let me know where you're watching from on this Monday. It is August 4th, 2025. We're going to be talking about all the latest with the Trump administration, and it is like a drama, okay? That's why I haven't been really covering it every day, because we have 3 years of it, and I want to burn myself out covering drama. I guess I'm just not the best political streamer. I'm sorry, guys. Like, I can't do. I'm not interested when it comes to just the politics. Like right now, MAGA is focused on Sydney Sweeney, and they're crafting a garbage Sydney Sweeney thing that Democrats are like mad at Sydney Sweeney, and Sydney Sweeney's been like a Republican her whole life, and Trump is tweeting or posting about her, and it's just like, I don't care. I don't care at all. I'm Sydney Sweeney's hot for sure. Would definitely in my league, no, and then that's about it. I don't care. Beyond that, okay. And if that is like politics, I guess that's why I'm like on my gaming channel, okay, and like I'm over there. But when it comes to news that's coming out today between the disaster aid, blackmail, the latest with the Russian news, and the Texas walkout that took place, we're going to talk about some things that are going on out here. But when it comes to just like the daily drama, I'm not and also a lot of the political streamer content that I'm seeing, and they got their communities and they do their thing, but they just kind of like roast each other. Like the content on like the mainstream political streamers, YouTube channels, Twitch, they're all just talking about each other. Like there's only like a 1 or 2 political streamers that actually talk about current events and or highlight the people that are fighting against this administration. And then when I'm looking at what is good, what's considered good content for like political content out here, I have no like I don't care what I'm gonna be so serious. I don't care what Hassan has to say about things, like one way or another, okay, or Destiny, or shout out to Hutch, he's great, but like I don't like that doesn't form my politics about what some streamer says about things, right? Or like what some content creator says, unless it's like they're directly connected to the Trump administration, which a lot of MAGA creators are. A lot of Trump supporting content creators and streamers are directly connected to that. And I'm far more interested in calling them out and engaging with them than people out here, than people that are just out here that have different opinions. But when it comes to the connection to power, that is what needs to be focused on. And people like get distracted as hell out here with the mainstream politics. And that's why I don't engage with it every day, and I just can't. I just cannot do it. I guess I thought I could. We post about it every day. So you guys that are on my Facebook page that are following Mercado Media on Facebook, we've been shout out to Mod Nikki. Mod Nikki's been posting. She's gonna be back teaching again here soon. So summer vacation's coming up. I'm gonna have to tap back into the Facebook postings. But we've been posting and keeping you guys updated there. Plus the protests that have been taking place, but I just can't do the drama of like, I mean, as much as like when Russia invaded Ukraine, we had issues with the Enforcer channel and it's like a meme still. I really didn't want that at all. Like I would have rather had an existence of covering the war in Ukraine without having to deal with that at all. But it was just like they were like forcing it to happen, and it was like I think it's still to this day is a featured part of their stream. And at this point, I just don't care. Like I didn't want to care back then either. It's just I was forced to, and like I had a wave of people, and I didn't know what to do, and it's just like stupid, I guess. So I don't like when it comes to politics and what's happening out here. It doesn't mean that like I don't care about the serious things that are happening, like for sure. So I'm showing up. That's why we, not just me, but you guys too, in the chat and people that watch, that organize, are doing the things that we're doing, and we're going out to the things that matter. I think. We're going out to the things that we're showing up to, really take a stand against the administration, me with my news platform and people out there with their signs and whatnot. And I'm just not interested in the social media drama, especially X. Like if you go to X for your, like, besides the accounts that you followed like years ago before Elon took over, social media platforms are tough. X is an echo chamber completely. So you gotta like go outside of that platform. Like you'll see takes on there. Like I go to X for takes or like just general postings that still happen from sources that I followed years ago that will get like the Kyiv Independent and others when it comes to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. But when it comes to other things, like I don't care. Like Dylan Burns would probably be the best example of like a good political streamer that does real work too. Okay. That is a journalist as well and does journalism besides just doing political content, right? But Dylan like does his political content from the front lines of Ukraine, so it's like it's automatically. But I don't know, like you guys can shout out other streamers you watch that are actually involved or don't focus on the drama of what other streamers communities are doing. And that I'm 32, I see what's happening on the internet out here. Hey, hello fellow kids, and I don't care. I don't care about what that person's community is doing, and they hated this person, so we can't like them, and I don't care. Okay, we got invasions of countries. There's a genocide taking place. You got authoritarianism in the United States taking place. Rights are being stripped away. People are being deported without trial. Like why is that not the most important issues that we're facing? It should be. Yeah, it should be. But it's like I tap into what else is going on out here because I truly do. Like I feel bad when I'm on my gaming channel. I don't really, but like I do a little bit when I'm like, damn, I know I'm missing something. And then I pull up and it's like they're watching, like they're talking about a panel of like one streamer said this about another streamer, and I'm just all right, back to gaming, back to my gaming channel. But no, in all seriousness, though, there's been some serious news here in the past day or two. You also got fires taking place in California that I've been tracking. Renegade Chungus has been covering it on his channel. Thankfully, right now, it doesn't seem that it's threatening homes, but it's at like 65,000 acres. Really quick, hold on. California. I've been following this fire a little bit just to make sure it's not hitting homes. Yeah, it's at 65,000 acres right now. Highway shut down. So, you know, if that fire keeps getting out of control, if it starts getting closer to houses, you know, we'll tap in and do a live breaking news coverage. But as of right now, I'm not seeing it getting closer to the homes yet. Okay. You deleted X? You deleted it, huh? Well, that's what a lot of people do. I'm on there because there's still people there, and I have like people that follow me on there, and I also see other people that aren't completely MAGA on there still that are still there. So we'll see. But yeah, X is a terrible platform. Terrible for your mental health for sure. Okay, so let's cover the latest with the Trump-Russia ultimatum first, and then we'll get to Israel, and then the Democratic politician walkout in Texas to avoid the gerrymandering that Texas is trying to push through. So here's Russia's losses as of August 4th. You got 1,000 troops. You got 8 AFVs, 85 vehicles and fuel tanks. You got a tank, 28 artillery systems. You got 77 UAVs. You got a cruise missile, and then you got and that's about it for the last 24 hours. Newsom is talking about the federal lawsuit right now. Oh, he is? Oh, shoot. Wait, the federal lawsuit? Which one? Hold on, chat. Someone said that Newsom's live talking about. Oh, this one?
U.S. citizens. So far, we've won multiple court orders blocking implementation of the executive order while our case proceeds. And we're working to safeguard Californians' personal.
Oh, this is okay. Yeah, we can check this out.
Misuse, specifically from protecting it from Doge.
The audio's rough.
From private citizen.
Hey, what up, Mumbles? Hold on. We'll come back to Russia. We'll come back to Russia, Ukraine. This is live.
We blocked the poorly named Department of Government Efficiency from accessing your financial data, sued the administration for illegally sharing Medicaid data with ICE, and challenged demands.
Is there better audio than this? This is bad.
Sensitive and personal
data. What up? Thank you, new follower. Thank you for joining.
Recipients. When you
yeah,
add
the mic
up,
is bad.
You see the totality of what's at stake. The California dream. The totality, the idea that every Californian, no matter how they
God,
live,
that mic is bad.
where they live or how much money they have, can send their kid to school.
The federal government to serve, protect, and uplift our people
Much
and
better.
our state.
Much better.
In fact, the moment the Trump administration stops breaking the law and violating the Constitution, we'll stop suing. It's simple. Until then, we have no choice but to take legal action. No one is above the law, not even the President of the United States.
So they're suing Trump right now.
When you break the law, you need to be held accountable. Plain and simple.
California versus
the irony is the president has an enormous amount of lawful power at his fingertips. There's so much he can
California
actually
fighting
do
back. It's important.
legally. If he just stick to that, we wouldn't have a case against him. Instead, President Trump and his allies continue to abuse their power, break the law, violate the Constitution, and harm our people. Be it threats to our schools, research for our future, medical care for our sick, or infrastructure that keeps our communities working. There's too much at stake to sit idly by and follow and allow the president to continue unchecked. So you've got my word. Every time the president or his allies break the law, my incredible team of public servants at the California DOJ and I will be here to take them in court, just like we have 37 times already. As Attorney General, it's my job and my honor to protect California's people, resources, and values. I've got your back. I've got California's back. I'll protect your rights, your freedoms, your funding, and our values. And fortunately, I don't stand alone. I have a great team at the California DOJ, and I'm grateful to be able to stand with our great governor and our colleagues in the legislature. We're one team. The federal government might be content to forego its duty to serve the people, but the state of California never will. And now it's my great pleasure to welcome up my partner in this incredible work, Governor Gavin Newsom.
Thank you.
There's Governor
Thank you
Newsom.
to the Attorney General, thank you for the comprehensive overview, and thank you for putting together this report in a transparent way. You may recall this report came out of a legislative process that began during the transition of the Trump administration. We called a special session. We did so in the spirit that defines, I think, the closing comments of the Attorney General, with an open hand, not a closed fist, with the intention not to litigate, with the intention not to initiate, but with the intention to defend, to stand tall, to hold the line in terms of our values, the things we hold dear, to advance the rule of law and do so in a fair way. We were mindful that past is prologue, that we were involved in over 122, arguably 123 lawsuits in the Trump administration, 1.0, and inevitably we would be faced with many similar lawsuits and efforts in the second administration, though I think none of us imagined in the process of putting together a special session that just in 7 or so months, 37 lawsuits would be filed. None of us are surprised that so many of them have been successful. Nothing about what Trump is doing should come as a surprise, save the scope, the scale, the shock and awe, as it's been described, of the totality of his efforts. Thankfully, we have an outstanding leader in our Attorney General, someone didn't need to be convinced to fortify, to provide a bridge. That was the idea of the special session. After all, a bridge to the budget, to make sure he had the resources so that he can move forward quickly, whether it was internal efforts or to the extent he needed to find counsel outside, he would have the luxury, he would have the resources.
LA did not burn up, baby.
With the support of the legislature, we not only advanced the $25 million in the special session, but with the support of the legislature just a few weeks ago, we also were able to significantly increase the ongoing support
they are fighting back
for
against
our
Trump,
litigation posture
here
here at the DOJ. I'm grateful to the Attorney General. I'm grateful to leadership in both the Senate and the Assembly for supporting new positions and supporting additional resources that will supplement the resources that were set aside, those one-time resources, the $25 million
anything ironically
in the special session.
Yeah, he's talking about money. So anything ironically, the LAPD should learn from Chicago PD, which is wild to say because Chicago PD are wild too. But like in terms of dealing with the protest, Chicago PD is out there. They aren't letting people march around the city like without cops there, but they do it in a way to let the protest march around. And they have their bike cops out there, and they're heavy, they're deep. They're like hundreds and hundreds of them, but like they're not like tear gassing and flashbanging the protest crowd in Chicago.
It's the old African proverb: you want to go fast, you can go alone, but if you want to
LAPD
go far, go together. And the partnerships that have been formed with other attorney generals all across this country have been formidable and have had tremendous impact in terms of the success with these preliminary injunctions, success so far in this process. But none of us are naive about what's next, and none of us are naive about the imperative of making sure that we're resourced and we have a resourceful mindset as we move forward. Tremendous return on investment. But again, this is just 7 months into a new administration, and there's no question in my mind that the most vexing challenges are in front of us, not behind us. So I'm here just to support and amplify the work that was done in putting together this report, but also extend gratitude not just to the Attorney General, but again to the legislature for approving this appropriation, for supporting that special session, and setting up this strategy, first of its type in the country. We took this next administration, the new Trump administration, seriously, and thankfully we did. And I'm very, very proud of you and your team, and grateful for the opportunity just to highlight and reinforce the success that's laid out today in this report. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Governor Newsom. Appreciate the partnership again, the kind words, the ability to talk about in a transparent way what we've accomplished so far, and with clear eyes and a sober outlook, ready for whatever happens next. We will continue.
Oops. All right. Well, I didn't mean to close it. In California, Newsom. Let's see what that is. What is all that? News. California Democratic legislative leaders appear ready to follow Newsom's lead on redistricting. Okay. This is just happening then, so we don't even have news about it. Newsom lawsuit. No, that was it then. The report we're just getting on Reuters and AP. Should go back. I didn't mean to close it so quick. Let's go back really quick. See if they're going to answer questions.
Turn it over to the governor who's been leading on this issue.
Well, I've long supported independent redistricting. I was mayor of San Francisco supporting the efforts at the state level. Very proud of Governor Schwarzenegger's leadership. Proud of those that supported that effort. I was one of
Okay, they're talking about the redistricting. Okay. So we'll get some more information on the exact lawsuit that they're fighting against the Trump administration, but it's been many, and it's been ongoing since Trump sent the military into California. So all that is going on. Okay, we got some false flag propaganda Iran account in my chat. Goodbye. Anyway, so that was some California updates with the fire. As you guys saw, it was 65,000 acres. We'll tap into that if it starts threatening serious residential areas. And let's get back to Russia, okay, and Russia's invasion of Ukraine. So Trump reduced the deadline. He gave him 50 days, and now he says Ukraine is now Trump's war. Damn. Well, it was. It always was. Trump Russia deadline looms. I think it's on the 8th. It comes up on the August 8th now. Do you guys think it will get pushed back? You know, you got Moscow propagandists talking out loud too, and they're upset. It could all just be theater and show. It's to be like, oh, the Russians are getting mad, and then Trump is just saber rattling. But you got the deadline coming up. I'm getting so many ads here. This is wild. I have all the ad blockers on. They're getting around it. So let's see what CNN wrote here. It's interesting. Ukraine is now Trump's war. Kyiv. Vladimir Putin started it. Joe Biden didn't stop it, true. But no matter his efforts to the contrary, this is the week in which Russia's invasion of Ukraine becomes U.S. President Donald Trump's war. Because of the deadline on the 8th. He's still going to blame Biden, though. Or Obama or something. This is actually Obama. The most powerful office in the world doesn't always invite choices. Trump is mandated to address the biggest conflict in Europe since World War II because the United States was involved under his predecessor as Ukraine's key ally and sponsor. Trump could have dropped the war entirely, but instead he chose to impose the force of his personality, initially through the idea he could end it in 24 hours, or a revised deadline of 100 days. So it went from 24 hours to 100 days to then 50 days to then he cut it down to 10 to 12 days, just short of his 2 weeks. Okay. And we're hitting that date in 4 days now. Okay. Deadline diplomacy. Do you guys love it? Conservatives swear by it for some reason. Deadlines. We love deadlines. Everyone loves deadlines, said nobody ever. Except for people that are in power positions that can just fuck with you. Oh, I'll give you to this deadline to do it. Because I said so. Just shut fuck off, dude. This diplomacy is so bad. It's so bad. He hit his NATO allies hard, demanding they pay more for Europe's defense, which they did, and then the hard slog of diplomacy sputtered into gear, ultimately yielding very little, as we know. But it is in the last fortnight. Oh wow, we got a fortnight in there. That Trump's decisions and realizations have turned into this problem he now owns, which he won't. Like you see, and you can say that it's his, but Trump will not claim this. He will be like, nope, it's not mine. Nope, I know I gave new deadlines, and I'm threatening tariffs now, and I'm directly fighting Dmitry Medvedev, which is that guy is just a drunk bastard. All he does is just get hammered and tweet. Literally, that's what Putin has him do. Say get hammered and write tweets. So that's Medvedev. So dismiss the nuclear saber rattling of former President Dmitry Medvedev with harder nuclear threats about positioning U.S. nuclear submarines closer to Russia. So, Medvedev always tweets nuclear threats. Like it is common, unfortunately. But Trump seems to be making a move to put nuclear subs in Russia's water. Let me see here. Ukrainian drones. Kremlin plays down Trump's nuclear rhetoric as U.S. envoys. Okay, the Kremlin has played down Donald Trump's orders to move 2 nuclear submarines closer to Russia. You see, did he just put that in a Truth Social post? We're back to social media presidency. Trump orders nuclear submarines moved after Russia's provocative statements. That's Medvedev. As president of Russia for like 5 minutes. U.S. President Donald Trump on Russia said he ordered 2 nuclear submarines to be positioned in the appropriate regions in response to remarks from former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev about the risk of war between nuclear-armed adversaries. Security analysts called Trump's move a rhetorical escalation with Moscow, but not necessarily a military one, given the United States already has nuclear-powered submarines that are deployed and capable of striking Russia. Well, why is Trump even responding to him? Because that's what MAGA does. Watch all of the MAGA influencers, especially with Ukraine, and they all respond to the Russian propagandists, or like the little troll farm people, and as if they're relevant anyways. And I hate it so much. They don't actually attack the people that could be attacked. They attack the acolytes, and make that the fight. And like that is a better fight. Yeah. Why doesn't Trump go at Putin? Oh, because that would be political. And Trump says Putin is so good, and he's great, and he loves him, but he's also confused about Putin lately. He's a little confused. But Medvedev is an acolyte, and he can attack Medvedev all day long. That's MAGA. That is MAGA politics. They will attack acolytes, but not the actual, the head of the snake for anything. They dance around it. He added, words are very important and can often lead to unintended consequences. I hope this will not be one of those instances. Asked later by reporters why he ordered the submarine movement, Trump said, a threat was made by a former president of Russia, and we're going to protect our people. The U.S. Navy and the Pentagon declined to comment about Trump's remarks or on whether submarines had been moved. It is extremely rare for the U.S. military to discuss the deployment and the location of U.S. submarines, given their sensitive mission in nuclear deterrence. Trump's comments came at a time of mounting tension between Washington and Moscow, as Trump grows frustrated with what he sees President Putin's failure to negotiate an end to his more than 3-year war invasion of Ukraine. He did not specify a way met by nuclear submarines. U.S. military submarines are nuclear-powered and can be armed with nuclear-tipped missiles, although not all are. So probably play on words there. But any talk by U.S. president about potential nuclear military capabilities raises concerns, obviously, the security experts said, noting that the United States has historically refrained from matching Russia's nuclear saber-rattling given the risks surrounding the world's most devastating weaponry. Not even Biden did that. Which, for some people, that would be like, hell yeah, and other people would be like, oh, well, this is like stupid, because it's actually not addressing the problem. This is like MAGA 101. They're loud and will do things, but they never actually address problems or anything. It's like, wow, oh, we're moving nuclear submarines. That's a little crazy. Okay? And then you have the other end where Biden was just so afraid of any nuclear retaliation that he was mid and weak on Ukraine at first, and then got better, but needed improvement still. Got better, but that is still like a low bar, right? It was the low bar was already at the bottom, which when we didn't help Ukraine at all, we're like, hey, let's get Zelensky out of there. Didn't help Ukraine, and then Ukraine fought back and won. And we're like, oh, okay, I guess we can help Ukraine now. And then that's why I said like it got like better, but when the bar was already at the lowest, what does that mean, really? But then when Trump came in, he somehow is, well, we all knew it, but he is worse than Biden on every level of assistance to Ukraine. But you also have and like this is why Trump supporting or Republican pro-Ukraine people that just confuse the fuck out of me, but it is what it is. You have a major section of your base of people that support the same psychotic shit you do, but you somehow got it right with Ukraine, right? You got it right with Ukraine. You support Ukraine. Good job. Wow, the one thing that you can do right out here. You have all those other crazy ass losers that are against Ukraine. Why? Because Fox News and Trump said that Ukraine is bad. Okay? You have a major problem there. So you're cheering for something that you can't even like win with your own base. Like there is no route to support Ukraine within MAGA. because the majority of the MAGA base is anti-Ukraine because they've been lied to, and you can't undo it. And I'm seeing so many dog shit efforts by these like F tier journalists that are MAGA that are trying to like make Ukraine MAGA, or like they're trying to like make it, dress it up and make it real for MAGA so they can like support. And no, let's get the support from those people. And like let's get the support from MAGA who like regurgitate Russian propaganda on a daily basis like it's a part of their daily routine. And yes, Russian propaganda is also American centric. It's not just like their invasion of Ukraine. It's domestic American politics too. Most of it is actually. And so when you're dealing with that, with people that are already being lied to all day long, and then you're trying to flip them into supporting Ukraine somehow because Trump's president and like and you support Ukraine and like and Kamala was just too left, I guess, which is insane. I'm like, that's also why I've tapped out. Like the conservative pro-Ukraine base, I can't with them either. I can't with the far left. I can't with the Ukraine conservative base anymore. I hate everyone because everyone is so stupid, and they don't even they're not attacking, or they're not addressing the core issues of why Ukraine isn't being supported, which is Trump. And Trump is the reason why Ukraine is getting less support than Biden, which was already bad or not good enough when it comes to Ukraine. So when I'm seeing these people out here that are trying to court MAGA to support Ukraine, it's like, brother, like I'm probably not going to the Action Summit, guys, in October. I think I'm like 90% not going because it's like, it's just like beating your head against a wall. And for some reason, Ukraine and like the influencers around Ukraine can't leave the conservative influencing. They can't leave it. They just will not. And it like is literally driving me up the wall. And then like on the left, no one's really, unfortunately, people aren't focused on Ukraine. They're focused on each other and like fighting each other. And like the serious conversations are like, should socialists be a part of the left? It's like, what is happening? Like, we're not even talking about any serious issues. So yeah, one sect that is like mostly conservatives that want to see Ukraine succeed, but you have Donald Trump as your leader that a lot of them voted for too, and he has turned his back on this country. And then we have to sit here and play games for months and months and months on end. Is he gonna help? Is he not? Oh, here's a deadline. Oh God. Or is that stupid meme that dumb fuck posted from his YouTube channel? He's one of the ones I'm talking about here. Where he's, oh, something's gonna happen. Something big is gonna happen. Something's happening. That's what these people do. Okay, and nothing happens. What happens? Nothing with him when it comes to support for Ukraine. I just wish it didn't have to be this way. Biden was not good enough, and then Donald Trump is literally owned by Russia. So it's like, you know, that's your reality. You know, you have mid Biden politics of, you know, making sure that nukes aren't sent, which was still weak because, I mean, we have the nuclear triad of all the Western countries combined is like absolutely dwarfs Russia. I don't care. Russia would never do that because they would have to fight nuclear triads of so many NATO countries. That's nukes in the land, sea, and air we have. Like, people are so afraid of Russia's nukes and like whatever. America's nukes alone. Actually, just America by ourselves. But what I'm afraid of is Donald Trump's stupid Cheeto finger on the nuclear button. No one wants that. That's the problem. Is because with Biden and the Democrats, I trust them far more with their hand on a nuclear button. Right now, unfortunately, which is weird for me to say because it's like, they come from a different aisle of the political scale, but I trust them far more with dealing with geopolitical threats. Not with Israel though; they need to do better on that. Can't be having. We'll talk about Israel in a second though. But when it comes to Russia though, I mean, the Democrats have been pretty solid. The only ones that were like teetering on Ukraine was because Israel aid was in there, and I've been saying that since day one. Otherwise, it's been unanimous in the Democratic Party when it comes to support for Ukraine, and it always has been. Like liberals and centrists, and then even just enough people on the far left, you would say, support Ukraine enough. And like for some reason, it's like we have to court conservatives and MAGA. It's because they're the ones that got away. I think that's really what it is. I think that's what the psychology is because people know that MAGA hate Ukraine because they're lied to. So therefore, we have to court them. It's like you're chasing the dragon. You're chasing a high of like trying to get these people and try to flip their opinions, and it's like a game, I guess. You're not going to. Okay, they will fall off of MAGA themselves, and then they can open their brain to support Ukraine. Okay, the people that support Ukraine are still out here. Okay, the other thing that you can do too is you can bring go to protests, go to the anti-Trump protests if you support Ukraine. Especially if you're conservative, go stand out there with your Ukrainian flag next to a person holding a Palestinian flag. It'll be great. You'll be fine. It'll be great. You'll hear some great speeches, and then you can go home. That's the best thing you can do right now, because there ain't shit that is going to help Ukraine when it comes to this administration, and I'm tired of saying it. Every 3 months, we have to talk about, oh, is Trump going to help them now? They did one thing, Andrew. He's going to send tanks. Oh, God. Or what is the Patriots that aren't getting there until 2026 now? Oh, God, he's going to help them. Andrew, look, he's doing it. You were wrong. At least spring of 2026. We might get Grand Theft Auto 6 before Donald Trump sends a single weapon to Ukraine. Isn't that crazy? The meme is now reversed. GTA 6 might happen before Trump sends any weapon to help Ukraine, or defensive or offensive. That's where we're at with it. Understand that. I'm going to be streaming GTA 6 before I have a breaking news. Donald Trump sends weapons. But you're still going to have these MAGA dick sucks that have platforms that pretend they're not MAGA. They're conservatives and they pretend they're not, that are going to be, oh God, like 3 months from now, it'll be some other stupid conservative that does this. Oh my God, Trump is helping now. Is he actually? No, but he said he was going to. He wrote a really angry truth post at Putin today. Did you see the latest from Bro, shut up. Stop. Okay? He is owned by that country. Russia owns him. Okay? Nobody gets to build or have the potential to build literally in the Kremlin. He was going to have a Trump Tower in the Kremlin in the late 80s. And you literally do not do that unless you are connected to the, KGB, but now FSB. Stop. In all seriousness, just stop it. I'm so tired of it. Plus, he's a pedophile. Okay? So you got a pedophile, Russian-owned Donald Trump in office right now. And you're out here thinking he's going to help Ukraine. Especially with right now, if we're having a situation, and this is what sucks because Biden was so mid, but if you had a situation like you're seeing right now in Pokrovsk, there was a big political issue when the Republicans were holding aid from Avdiivka. It was annoying in the support sphere because you have a lot of conservatives and they're annoying. But when Russia was taking Avdiivka, the news was getting pretty loud about it, and that caused some action, and the Republicans were focused on, because they were the ones delaying the aid, because we had to have border provisions on it, and then they ended up killing that. It was like a whole political nonsense, but it caused Biden to have to send another weapons package and to really try to push through aid that should have been given already, but it caused. It had an effect. There was a cause, which was obviously Russia's invasion. Russians were taking Avdiivka, and then it had a political effect, and people were looking at it more. And right now, Russia is taking Pokrovsk. Okay, this whole pocket, this is going to be gone. Pokrovsk will be taken. Munograd will be taken. This pocket will be under Russian occupation in the next few weeks. Nothing is going to happen in terms of American response to this, and that sucks so hard. Because you have the mid-Biden response, which was still mid, and then you have what you're looking at right here, which is the Russians are going to take this pocket, and nothing is going to happen in terms of a sanction on Russia, maybe, or something to help Ukraine. It's just that this administration is just so far gone from that, and they're going to play games. And I will be shocked if the 8th comes up and they just don't kick the ball down the road again. Oh, well, Putin said that he'll stop moving on Pokrovsk for a couple days, and then they're going to have talks for talks or something. Putin will send some irrelevant envoy, and then Donald Trump will send his irrelevant envoys, and then they'll go talk about how they had talks, and that'll be news. And then people will say, oh, wow, see, look at, they're talking. Wow, Trump peacemaker. He should have the Nobel Peace Prize for talking, because talks are good and everybody likes talks. And then they go nowhere. And then Trump goes, "Oh, I can't believe Putin bombed another city. God, he sounds so good on the phone." And then when we get off the phone, he just starts bombing Ukrainian cities. Like, I don't understand. And then we're going to do that again. And then we're going to live in this whole cycle of information for the next probably 3 years until Trump sends us into a war, which I still predict will happen. Okay. That Iran deal was like, it was teetering there. We were bombing it, but I still feel Trump will send American troops into a Middle Eastern country before he's done with everything that's happening right now against him. He will send America into a war. I still predict that before his term ends, and then obviously the next administration will inherit this, and then it'll be an absolute propaganda nightmare, and everything will be blamed on whatever Democrat takes the office next, because that's what's going to happen. Hopefully, unless also the valid concern of him holding office, but that'll be a whole other topic. It'll be like American. I will be helping organize militias. We'll just put it that way. In 2028, 2028. If we're talking about a serious like Trump third term, I will be assisting in that. Any serious veteran that wants to help train civilians, how to shoot, move, communicate, how to clean a weapon, how to zero a weapon. That is what the shit we're gonna be on, and I'm so serious, so serious. All legally, of course, all legally within our rights, protected under the Constitution, and plus we're gonna have good classes too. You're gonna get some good education for sure. All legally, nothing illegal. We're gonna have some serious problems though, but. Anyways, I'm hoping that doesn't happen. That's hopium though. So that's more a hopium more than I actually believe that he's not going to try to keep himself in office. But anyways, if all goes how it's supposed to, it's not looking good for him, and it should flip into a Democratic seat, and then war will be absolutely easy to propagandize and just say, wow, look at America, look what happens when a Democrat wins, you get war. And you have suffering, and it's just what the Republicans do. It's just what the Republicans do. They've been doing it since Newt Gingrich, guys. Been doing it since Newt. They're fighting a war internally. Democrats are just trying to get better policies, even though they're still mid too, and they're too centrist. But they're trying to do policy, and Republicans are literally at war with the rest of America, and they always have been. And that's what it is. If you're wondering, like, why can't Republicans just be normal? It's because they're at war. They've been at war. They're in a civil war, but without fighting, like without weapons. But it's more of like an ideological war, and like their politics are liberals bad, and that's it. Or which that means anything like left of MAGA is liberal. Even leftists are liberals, and they hate that. They hate that so much. They hate being called liberal, but like everything is a liberal to a MAGA that isn't them. So they're at an ideological civil war. And they've been doing this for the last 10 years. Okay. That's why you can't win over policies. Zoran Mandami did really good with his campaign, really tapping into the social media aspect, but like, it's not good enough just to do social media. Like anyone can do social media. It's like how he used his social media, how he was engaging with like, with the people of New York. And like being out there and like going to food truck stands and just shit people do. And that's what Democrats need to do. And it'll be fine, but they need to do that and stop trying to act like victims because they don't do anything when they get power. And then the Republicans will say something mean. And then like the Democrats will go, oh, we can't do it. We can't do it. It'll make them mad. It's like, bro, make them mad. I don't give make them very angry. Make the Republicans expose their Nazism so we can see it out loud, so we can look at it, because that's what happens when you trigger them. When you trigger a liberal, they just like go into hiding. When you trigger a Republican, you make them their bigotry comes out, and you see them for what they are. Okay, so we need to fix that. We need to fix that. I'm really liking what I'm seeing out of Texas though, so I got to give credit where credit's due. I always will, right? What we're seeing out of Texas has been good. So. We'll have more information when it comes to Russia and Trump's plan with Russia. I got a plan, America. Trump is Dutch from Red Dead Redemption 2 when it comes to his plan for Russia. I got a plan, America. Just trust in me. Every time I play that game. We played Red Dead Redemption 2. That is arguably could be the greatest game of all time. Right? Could be. Obviously, that's a hot button, but that game is seriously like cinema, and it's just a great game too. Like the gameplay is just the best. But Trump is Dutch when it comes to Russia. So, how about this one for you guys? You guys think your news wasn't bad yet? I got you. How about linking 1.9 billion in state disaster funds to Israel boycotting? But you're like, what does that mean? That means if you boycott Israel or if you protest Israel, the federal government is not going to help you. Or it's not going to help your state. Isn't that fun? Here, it's Monday, August 4th. We'll see where we're at in authoritarianism in America today. The U.S. and cities that boycott Israeli companies will be denied federal aid for natural disaster preparedness, the Trump administration has announced, tying routine federal funding to its political stance. How's this one going to go? Because this is like you know how like I just grilled the conservatives that are pro-Ukraine but have MAGA in their base and they think they're going to like win there, and they're not, because you got a lot of MAGA that are like anti-Ukraine. You got a lot of MAGA that are anti-Israel. Okay, but in different ways, the ways that are a little spicier, obviously, and a little racist or whatever. But you know, they got a lot of them that are against Israel in general. But you also got people on the other political side of the aisle that are against Israel for their actions, and like the government actions and Zionism and Bibi Netanyahu and his Likud political party that are just Nazis, to be honest. The Likud political, like you can have Zionists are pretty imperialist. Not like there's different levels of like how imperialist they are, but like the Likud party and Netanyahu's party are fucking Nazis, actually, dude. So you're gonna have like a lot of people that are probably on both sides of the political aisle that are gonna be against this. This is gonna be probably actually this might be something that we can come together on this topic, because this is bad. This is bad for everyone. Or you even say something bad about Israel, it's like they're coming for you right now, dude, and that is not good. Like, what kind of shit is that? That'd be like this. How about this, my anti-Ukraine maggots out here? What if you couldn't say Ukraine sucks like you do every single day, right? Every day you say, oh, I wake up and Zelensky's a dictator, Democrat, Nancy Pelosi owned George Soros actor or whatever. And like you call Ukraine soldiers Nazis all day. What if because you said that and you've been saying it for the past 3 years because you're an idiot, but anyways, you've been saying it. And then you're at home and you're getting ready to type the anti-Ukraine rhetoric and you like hate them so much, and then a tornado takes your house away while you're mid-tweet and you're like fuck Ukraine, and then the how your house is gone from a tornado and you're like, oh no, I can't write fuck Ukraine tweets anymore because my house is gone. I don't have anything anymore. Thank goodness for the federal government, and they can help. And then the federal government goes, oh, you've been writing fuck Ukraine for the past 3 years. Sorry. Oh, you shit on Zelensky? Yep. Can't help you. We're not giving you aid. Oh boy. What would that be like? Wouldn't that be a good time? Huh? Because you've said fuck Ukraine or something that you've been doing for 3 years. Okay. Anyways, it seems to be a reality for people that criticize Israel and protest Israel. The requirement applies to at least 1.9 billion that states rely on to cover search and rescue equipment, emergency manager salaries, and backup power systems, among other expenses, according to 11 agency grant notices reviewed by Reuters. The requirement is that the Trump administration's latest effort to use federal funding to promote its views on Israel. Isn't that a state? It's a state issue because the states need the federal funding when it comes to disaster aid. Every state does. We've got, how many disasters have I covered on this channel? We see it every time when it comes to, and that's why I brought up the wildfires in California that I'm tracking, because if they get close to the residential areas, that's going to be a major issue with the Trump administration and California and another set of wildfires. And it seems like it's going to be California won't get support, or any state. California gets the wildfires, but you got North Carolina with the hurricanes, you got Louisiana, you got a lot of the coastal states, plus central U.S. when it comes to the severe tornadoes and thunderstorms that we get that need the federal money to help with the rebuilding. It's not a state's issue. It's both. The state helps, of course, but then they need the federal funding too for it, which is why we pay federal taxes. You're Scottish though, so I don't expect you to understand internal American politics, unless you are American. but we pay federal taxes. We give the federal government money. So when it comes to disaster relief, that money should be coming back. And to hold it on, to preside it upon your political stance is actually crazy. When it comes to like you protesting, especially a foreign, like, oh man, this is so bad on so many levels, right? It'd be fucking it'd be a nightmare if it was like, oh, I support, or you support whatever, so that way, you know, you're not getting money because you support whatever. But for it's depending upon a foreign country, like a country, it's Israel is not America. I don't care how much the propaganda of this is. Israel is its own fucking country. Okay, I don't know why. I don't know when it became a thing to where Israel is like America light, I guess, or something. Like as if Israel is like the 50 whatever state of the United States now. I don't know when that happened, but I'm not with that. Whatever, I'm not with that at all. That is just, it's beyond the pale here. FEMA separately said in July that the U.S. states will be required to spend their federal terrorism prevention funds on helping the government arrest migrants, an administration priority. So they're already using FEMA funds for non-emergency. They're already using FEMA funds in fraudulent ways. The Israel requirement takes aim at BDS, which is the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement, designed to put economic pressure on Israel to end. Oh, wow. Dang, they're using the full power of the federal government against the BDS movement, which has worked. Not in all ways, not in everything they've tried, but they do. They have a thing where, you know, if a politician or a corporation is taking Israel money to shill for Israel, that's why they exist. So people are aware of this because of their war on Gaza. Somehow this became anti-Semitic and this became racist and all this shit that Netanyahu himself drums up. And let's be honest, Netanyahu and his government had created that whole thing. Like, there are people out here that think if you just criticize Netanyahu, you're being anti-Semitic, because Netanyahu made that a reality. He made criticism of Zionism and him as if like you're criticizing the Jewish faith, bro. I can't tell you two things about the Jewish faith other than they wear a hat and they have a holiday and they eat a lot. And they have a lot of celebrations when it comes to eating. And like I don't like, they can practice their faith or do your Jewish stuff, but when it comes to the government and the actions of the Likud and the Zionism, when it comes to Israel, that needs to be called out all day long. The religion, though, I just like when it comes to Islam and Christianity, like, do your religious thing. Just don't make me do it. That's all I ask. Do your thing. Praise your gods. I don't care. I'm not doing it. Okay. And if you make me do it, then we're going to have a problem. That's all I really care about when it comes to religions. But the government and having a government that is intrinsically tied to this religion, or at least that's what Netanyahu is trying to do. That's what the Likud is trying to do, to where as if like you're criticizing the Jewish faith if you call out the government of Israel, then that is insane. That's kind of like we're seeing it similar with MAGA, trying to make it like they're trying to do that with Christianity, and it's so cringe. It doesn't work like that in the United States. Thank God we have so many different viewpoints that fight against it, and that's really what it is. Why hasn't America gone full fascist Christian nationalist like they want? It's thankfully we have a country that we have so many people with different beliefs and backgrounds that can fight that and be like, oh no, like I'm Muslim, or oh no, I'm Jewish, or whatever. Oh, I know I'm whatever. I know I believe in the devil. I worship the devil. Hell yeah, or whatever. There's a lot of people that will can fight that and prevent that from really taking power, which is why it's important to focus on it, because the Trump administration is using tools within their wheelhouse to try to crack down on the free speech and people's rights to be able to speak against it. But when it comes to the faiths themselves, I do what you do. I just don't put it in my government, and don't make me do your traditions. I'll like, they're cool, I guess, from an outside looking in, but I don't want to have to do them. I don't want to do it. I did the Christian one, and I had to kneel on the pew, and my fucking shins hurt doing that, and like had to do all the traditions of it. I had a communion. I had to eat the little cookie thing, or the little cracker, drink the wine. I did all that. Oh, whatever. It was cool, but like I don't want to do that anymore. Like I don't want to have to do that. I don't want to have to do that. Or I don't want to be mandated to do that shit. Okay, no one should have to unless you want to, but you should have the right to, you're the freedom to do that if you want, if that's what you want to do and that's what you want to, you know, do with your personal life. So please understand my criticisms of Israel are 100% around the government, its actions, Netanyahu and his cabinet, and the Zionist Likud party. So I hate that. If you're wondering, like, oh God, here he goes, like I will fight back every time. And if I get labeled anti-Semitic for calling out Netanyahu and the Zionism, then so be it, I guess, at this point. You know what I mean? I'm already a George Soros paid actor, fucking leftist, whatever at this point. Nazi too, I guess, because I support Ukraine. So call me whatever you want. Just don't call me late for dinner, because I want to make sure I eat. So make sure I can get home for dinner on time. DHS will enforce all anti-discrimination laws and policies, including as it relates to the BDS movement, which is expressly grounded in anti-Semitism, said spokesman for the there it is. So the BDS is grounded in anti-Semitism. That's what Kristi Noem said. So we are in an Israel first government now. This is wild. And it's actually, hasn't it been Israel first for a while now? Bombing Iran for them. Dude, using our alien stealth planes to go bomb Iran for Israel, not for America. We didn't do it for America, dude. Oh boy, then our soldiers were getting attacked, and they got to do some cool videos though, I guess, of like the Patriots like intercepting the Iranian missiles, and like they like that and whatever. But good thing none of those missiles got through and like killed anyone or anything. But we've been really in kind of an Israel first country here for the past, at least since Trump took power. And people would argue that even when Biden was president, but I'm just against that. Biden needed to do more to hold Israel accountable, but this is such a night and day conversation of American help to Israel, and people on the far left need to be smarter about it now. Okay, if you were on one of those like, oh, the American government bad because they supported Israel under Biden, sure, for sure, definitely, but understand going forward that there is a night and day difference between the Democrats and the Republicans when it comes to Israel. Actually, do Democratic politicians take AIPAC money? Do they take Israel money? Yep. Are they the most popular Democrats now? Oh, no, they're not. Good. Okay, the ones that aren't taking the money and those that are actually, and if anything, there's also a connection, if you haven't noticed, to AIPAC connected Democrats, and if they are like, if they will appease Republicans, right? Like, for example, you got Chuck Schumer takes a lot of Israel money. Chuck Schumer is not a strong Democrat. Okay, I don't know when he was. I don't know what year he was, but he is absolutely like, Republican light. He'll say some strong words in the Congress when the camera's on, but his votes and go with the Republicans. Okay, or like a Fetterman or et cetera, et cetera. Okay, there's like a you can look at that, but don't like the people on the left. You need the Democratic Party for your power. You're not going to get power outside of the Democratic Party in this America. In this America, you're not getting a party for you. Until America has come to like a realization that we need more than two parties, then for sure, then full send into, okay, then this is our party now on the left and we get power now, but you need the Democratic Party. You're not getting power. Okay, so you need to advocate for your progressive policies, cutting aid to Israel, but you got to do it with the Democratic Party. You got to do it with them. You're not doing it outside of them. And if you want power and if you want to see these things change, you have to use the Democratic Party for that. Okay, or like at least try to get politicians in there, work with them. You don't have to work with them. I don't want to say work with them, but like if, like, for example, Fetterman, I think, is cooked in the Democratic Party. He's been called out left and right for his stance specifically with Israel. I don't know if it's looking good for him, unless and I think the only way that it would is if like the Republicans put up an absolute fucking like fascist Nazi in Pennsylvania, and it's like so 4K to where like, oh God, like Fetterman is like the cope vote, but that sucks too, doesn't it? There's always down ballot people. There's always people that are further down the ballot that you could the Democratic Party, they'd have to they'd have to run as a Democrat eventually, but you could rally enough support, grassroots support for them that are down ballot, that are not as popular as like the establishment politician in the Democratic Party. But I already know that I have a feeling that people are going to want more Democrats that are fighting, and I'm seeing it since Trump took office. There's been a shift in how people are viewing the Democratic Party that are liberal. I'm not speaking at conservatives anymore. I'm talking about people that are on the left. They're looking at the Democratic Party a little differently. Like, yes, it's night and day difference from the Republican Party, but it needs to improve, and you can't have like centrists right now. Like the current like centrists in terms of like oh well, we need to include the Republicans in this and we need to give them whatever, when all their politics are is just Trump and fascism. So it's like you need Democrats that are going to fight for people that are voting for them, you know, in a sense. And in the left's policies already kind of help everyone. Like they help or anyone that needs it, including conservatives. So it's like the policies will help. You need the messaging there now. You need the populist messaging to reach, you know, the working class. All of like the Biden's domestic policies were good. Biden's domestic policies were good actually. But they just didn't have good marketing behind them. Like they didn't get marketed out. You already had like a major wave of MAGA propaganda against Biden every single day, saying he created the inflation, he created COVID, he both created COVID and the vaccine, and like, oh god, it was just like a wave of like bad at all times. So Democrats need to get better on their messaging, which I've seen get better. Pete Buttigieg has gone around he's just one example, but like this is what I'm seeing in general. But like Pete going on the right wing podcast, as much as that you might not watch that, but it's important that he gets out there and gets onto like conservative platforms and shows them like, hey, you know, the Democrats aren't so scary. That's what helped me. That's what helped me get out of MAGA and the right wing was ironically Joe Rogan. And back in like 2015, 16, I can't remember the year, had Bernie on. All right. And I'm at home all day long and I'm watching, you know, Fox News and right wing media when I was like in my teens and early 20s. And all Fox News is telling me is how socialist and how evil Bernie Sanders is. And he's just like this evil person. But like a lot of people that were on the right, though, they were like, oh, Bernie, you know, at least Bernie is like, he says what he means and he's been doing it forever. And like he had that going for him. But then you had his policies and the right wing called him a communist, basically. He goes on Joe Rogan and I watched that one. And I was like, oh, shit, I guess Bernie isn't so bad after all. Oh, boy. Well, that was a good episode. Oh, man, I guess this is before anything changed. But at least that was like an eye-opening moment for me to like, oh, Bernie is like a normal human. He just cares for the working class and he wants billionaires to pay their fair share in like taxes. He isn't like he has like socialist policies, but he's still rooted in capitalism. He recognizes that he focuses on billionaires, but he recognizes that they exist and like there's an America with billionaires existing. He wants there to be a fair, equitable amount of like taxes that the rich have to pay that, you know, can alleviate some of the working class, you know, lower level, you know, economically, whatever, the working class all around. Like he wants it to be more of an equal playing field while recognizing that there's still going to be rich people out here. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess Bernie isn't so bad. That's what I'm seeing politicians like Pete Buttigieg doing right now. Ro Khanna, that's just a couple, but there's others that have been going on the rounds. And again, it might not be content for you because you already support these type of politicians and you don't need a right-wing podcast to tell you that, you know, this is a good politician or whatever, but those efforts are actually good. That will actually, like, those that are chasing those right-wingers to flip them for some reason, that those actions will be the ones that will flip conservatives, is showing up on their favorite stuff because they watch it all day long and then that's what their favorite thing is. And then Democratic politician will show up and then flip the script and they'll be like, oh golly, all the information I knew about this person was a lie. Oh, this person's actually okay. Oh, they're no normal human. Anyways, that was a rant on Democratic politicians, but all that to be said, this connection to Israel is just not the move, I think, for the future of the United States in general, like as a populism, like from all sides of the political aisle. I see it as an L. I don't see supporting Israel as a W in any political aisle at all, other than Republicans still holding it down there because they have a lot of connection to it. But on the left, though, if Israel is not there for you. Israel is not going to be a comfortable position to have unless you're in like a purple area, like Fetterman. That's maybe why Fetterman is okay, because it's a little purple there, or it can be. But it's just not the move. Given Israel's war in Gaza, their genocide, the now the American federal government attaching disaster funds to whether or not you're boycotting Israel or boycotting an Israeli company or a company that's taking Israeli money. This is just bad for just the principle of free speech, but also sets a very bad precedent to our connection to Israel. And if you're like, Israeli, or if you like, I don't know, man, Netanyahu has done the worst for the future of like how people view Israelis than anyone, I think. Like what Netanyahu is doing for the country, for his own country, and how people are viewing it is just as bad as like their actions too on Gaza. Like the IDF's actions on Gaza are 4K bad for everybody, but how people are viewing Israelis and Israel now is also completely shifted. And like literally completely shifted. Like, oh, it's this country, this small country that, and I'm speaking from the little conservative side of things, but I know that for a fact there's a lot of other conservatives that are feeling the same way. But oh, you got this small country and all these big bad Middle Eastern countries around them, and they're all mean to little old Israel, and Israel is just fighting for its existence. Bullshit. Okay, that is gone now. I don't have that little ignorant feelings about Israel anymore. Okay, because of their own actions. I could have, Netanyahu, I could have still been a little ignorant to Israel and thought that if you didn't have a Nazi style of leadership in your country, I would have had this little stupid ignorant beliefs about Israel. But no, I don't have that anymore because of their war on Gaza. And I'm not the only one. I bet you there's millions of other Americans that are feeling the same way. They might not be all up in the information about it, about what's happening on the day-to-day of Israel, and they not the history of it all. Like some people are very educated on it. But I know for a fact the veil of like just in general, like, oh, Israel's our ally and we have to protect them because poor little Israel. Fuck that. Israel has nukes. Israel can handle themselves. They have. They fought wars and they fought off other countries. They can handle themselves. They're doing imperialism, and American support to Israel should stop when it comes to aiding Israel's imperialism. They have a right to exist. They have a right to defend their country. They don't have a right to commit genocide, and I don't like the American government funding that. And that's just where I'm at with it. They're pretty simple take on the whole situation. And now it's even worse with this, to where I might thankfully I live in a blue state and I got protections with my state. But say I lived in a red state and I had a little bit more power or whatever, everything I just said might just have caused. But if like I was in a position of power here actually, and I lived in a red state or whatever, everything I just said might have just ruined any support for my community, because I'm speaking about Israel and it's not like pro-Israel. We all agree that it's bad. Like the Nelk boys, all of them are just absolutely like. It's not good, man. It's not good at all. To tie aid and free speech in the United States to boycotting Israel because of Israel's actions. Like no one was just people were boycotting Israel because Israel's always done that to Gaza, actually, in terms of having the walls around it. The IDF have been shooting journalists for years. I've been watching it. I actually attended protests prior to October 7th. I was out here covering pro-Palestinian protests and hearing about it, and also was connected to journalists in Gaza, and IDF was sniping them before the October 7th. So this is not good, y'all. This is just an attack on free speech, an attack on your right to protest, it's just, this is another step towards authoritarianism. in the U.S. But the reason why I'm not like, absolutely sounding the alarm on authoritarianism in the U.S. is because we have states protections. Other states do not, though. Like there are other Americans in red states. That's tough. But I'm glad that my state, we have some state protections, and Tim Walz is gonna not let, and like even Newsom, they had the federal government come in, they had the military come in, but Newsom's fighting against it. At least needs to do more, but fighting against it. Let's go to Texas. What do you guys think about Israel and the boycott or the protesting? To where if you protest Israel, you're gonna have your federal aid stripped. That's so fucked up. So you got a hurricane, which the Republicans and the GOP decided to absolutely politicize the hurricane in North Carolina, Hurricane Helene, and blame Democrats for the hurricane, and they still do. No, you're gonna have Democrats blamed for natural disasters while also creating them, and then now they're gonna have aid withdrawn if they speak out against Israel. That's wild. So, in a W for the Democrats, they prevented the Texas House from moving forward with Trump-backed congressional map because, as usual, the Republicans are trying to steal another election, or they're trying to. Texas Democrats on Monday prevented their state's House of Representatives from moving forward, at least for now, with a redrawn congressional map sought by President Trump to shore up Republicans' 2026 midterm prospects as his political standing falters. He's not doing well. Trump is not doing good. So they're trying to cheat before the midterms because they ain't going to do, it's going to be a nightmare for the GOP. After dozens of Democrats left the state, the Republican-dominated House was unable to establish the quorum of lawmakers required to do business. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has made threats about removing members from the opposition from their seats. Democrats have countered that Abbott is using smoke and mirrors to assert legal authority he does not have. The Republican-dominated House quickly issued civil arrest warrants for absent members, and Abbott ordered state troopers to help find and arrest them. But Democrats who are not in Texas are beyond the jurisdiction of state authorities. Dude, so you had the full power of the Texas government going after Democrats here to arrest them for not being there for the gerrymandering. If you continue to go down this road, there will be consequences, House Speaker Representative Dustin Burrow said from the chamber floor, later telling reporters that includes fines. The Democratic revolt and Abbott's threats ratcheted up widening fight over congressional maps that began in Texas but expanded to include Democratic governors who have floated the possibility of rushing to redraw their own state maps in retaliation, even if their options are limited. The dispute also offered another example of Trump's aggressive view of presidential power and his grip on the Republican Party nationally, while testing the long-standing balance of powers between the federal government and individual states. So America at its core, we are testing America right now. Like the American values, Constitution, founding fathers, principles, all of that is being tested by Donald Trump. To how far he can push this and how much authoritarianism and dictatorship America can do. That is absolutely what MAGA is trying to push forward right now. It's wild. They LARP on American patriotism and they love wearing red, white, and blue and the fucking eagle and the flag. And they're the most anti-American cowards that we have in our country. Texas Dems walk out ahead of redistricting vote. Dozens of Texas House Democrats have left the state to block a vote on a redrawn U.S. House map sought by President Trump before the 2026 election. There you go. At the center of the escalating impasse is Trump's hope of adding 5 more GOP-leaning congressional seats in Texas before the upcoming midterms. That would bolster his party's chances of preserving its slim U.S. House majority, something Republicans were unable to do in the 2018 midterms during his first presidency. Republicans currently hold 25 of Texas's 38 seats. That's nearly a 2-to-1 advantage, and already a wider partisan gap than in the 2024 presidential election, when Trump won 56.1% of the vote, while Democrat Kamala Harris received 42.5%. Speaking Monday on Fox News, Abbott essentially admitted to the partisan power play, noting that the U.S. Supreme Court has determined there is nothing illegal about shaping districts to a majority party's advantage. He openly acknowledged it as gerrymandering before correcting himself to say Texas is drawing lines. Just drawing lines. More than 1,800 miles away from Austin, New York, Governor Kathy Hochul appeared with Texas Democrats and argued their case should be national. We're not going to tolerate our democracy being stolen in a modern-day stagecoach heist by a bunch of law-breaking cowboys, says Hochul on Monday, flanked by several lawmakers who left Texas. If Republicans are willing to rewrite rules to give themselves an advantage, then they're leaving us with no choice. We must do the same. You have to fight fire with fire. Texas Democrats say they're in this for the long haul. Abbott insisted ahead of Monday's scheduled session that lawmakers have absconded in their violation of their sworn duties to the state. I believe they have forfeited their seats in the state legislature because they are not doing the job they were elected to do, he said in the Fox News interview, invoking his state's hallmark machismo to call the lawmakers un-Texan. Texans don't run from a fight, he said. The fight that we're starting and bringing upon you. Democrats said they had no plans to heed the governor's demands. Nice. So you have Texas infighting. So good. So in Texas, apparently, just the only thing they care about protecting is the oil companies and the border. They don't give a fuck about you as an American. So that's the situation there. They're trying to gerrymander the state. Democrats fled to avoid it. To avoid the gerrymandering. Boy, we're in a bad situation. We're in a bad situation.
Have all members registered? Have all members registered?
Like, Republicans are criminals, guys. They're criminals in our country, and it's going to be like this until the people do something about it. But the Republican Party has gone completely 1984 Orwell world while being criminals at the same time. Like an open season. Okay, and it's going to be until the American people do something about it. Okay, the Democrats, it's funny when we talk about the Democrats, we're always talking about how dog shit their policies are. The Republicans themselves are actual criminals, pedophiles, actual fucking pedophilic criminals out here in broad daylight committing fraud in our faces. And we're supposed to talk about like this as if that's why I tap out, guys. That's why I tap out, because I can't do it, because I want to have serious, good faith political conversations about reform or laws that need to be changed, policies that need to be addressed. And you can do that with the Democratic Party, but it's a shit show there too, because you have a perfection issue with leftists that need Jesus basically as a Democratic politician, or they're not voting for him, but they hate Jesus too. So that's just confusing. And then you got the right wing, which is absolute fraud criminals from the highest level, from Donald Trump down. And then we're supposed to live in this country and work with these people. And it's just a wild reality to live in. It truly is. Truly is. Pedophile, protector, fraud. Committing absolute high levels of fraud.
We're going to begin with the fight deep in the heart of Texas, which could decide who controls Congress after next year's midterms. It has nationwide consequences, and it's getting even more urgent as state Democratic lawmakers have now fled the state entirely. They bolted to Illinois, Boston, New York. On Sunday, it was a last-ditch effort to delay voting.
Have I heard the Muslim call to prayer 5 times a day when I'm in Minneapolis? No, Skull, Minnesota, I haven't. You're a fucking idiot.
New congressional map ordered by President Trump in Texas, and it would give Republicans another 5 seats in next year's midterm elections.
Guys, get a load of this guy. He believes the Muslim call to prayer is sounded out loud in Minneapolis 5 fucking times a day because they said that they were given permission to, and that's it. Do they do it? No.
We did not make the decision to come here today. We did not make that decision lightly. But we come here today with absolute moral clarity that this is absolutely the right thing to do to protect the people of the state of Texas.
Yeah. The move denies the Texas legislature a quorum, blocking Republican efforts to pass the new gerrymandered map during a special session. Now, Governor Greg Abbott is lashing out, accusing Democratic lawmakers of abandoning their offices. He's threatening removal. State Attorney General Ken Paxton goes even further, suggesting the lawmakers should be arrested, adding, quote, "We should use every tool at our disposal to hunt down those who think they're above the law." Joining me now on this Monday in the group chat, Stephen Collinson, CNN.
How cooked are we? How cooked is America? You know, GG's, guys. I'm really that's where I'm at with it. You know, we had to run every major country, I guess, or not every major country, but you know, there's a power play country out here every couple hundred years. You know what I mean? Just out here, just running the show, and then they fall, and then they're not the power country anymore. And I think America is in that right now because of Republicans and Democrats that are too weak in this moment. Not all of them. Very kind of unsure. How cooked are we?
CNN politics senior reporter Sarah Fisher, CNN senior media analyst and senior media reporter at Axios, and Kevin Fry, Washington correspondent for Spectrum News, New York 1.
You said the most populated parts of Texas are all blue. Every major populated area is blue because you have to be with other people. And, you know, I don't want to shit on people that live in rural areas because honestly, I want to go live in a rural area and go fuck off and not be around other people. But when you live there, a lot of propaganda gets put into those places, and then you're not exposed to other people because you're like living away from everyone, and so you get to be like comfortable in some bigotry, like sometimes, not everyone, but like it can be common there because you're away from everything, and then the media that you're getting there and like the information you're getting is heavily right wing, heavy-handedly right wing. So, and there's nothing else too. Like all your people that live there believe the same things and say the same things. So. And when I go to the cities, you know, it's a bunch of people with a bunch of beliefs. Even the people out there that live in the city will come out and say, "Hey, you cover these events?" "Yeah, I do every time." "Well, I'm against them. Is that okay?" I'm like, "I mean, yeah, I don't care. What do you think?" And then like I'll talk to them. But there are people in the cities that are against protests, but they live out there, and the people that live in the cities are for them or whatever. You don't have protests going through rural areas, do you? My motherfuckers cry from the nosebleeds. Swear, dude, that's what it feels like sometimes. The nosebleed section, like crying about things that aren't happening to them. But I actually, you know, as I'm getting older, like I want to go live away from people, you know, and go live on my own property away from everyone.
Kevin, I'm actually going to start with you just because you cover Congress really closely. Yeah. A state like New York made the midterms, right? Like very important.
No, New York is that's too many people. Yeah, I'm good on that. I like Minneapolis. It's like, you know, you can walk around. There's still enough people out there. You know, the parks are full, but like not too full. You know what I mean? Like you can walk downtown Minneapolis without being on top of like 18 other people. You know what I mean? Like I like that. But you know, New York, I like you know, sightseeing and people watching, but I don't think I could ever live there. I could live in downtown Minneapolis. I could not live in downtown New York City or in New York City. That would be I couldn't do that one now.
So what's significant about this moment with Texas?
Well, I mean, and look, some of these lawmakers are actually in New York right now as well. The governor there is supposed to meet with them today as part of all of this. When it comes to the balance of power in the House, it comes down to just a fraction of a margin, essentially. The margin's already razor thin. And so if you have 5 seats that could go then to the Republican column that might otherwise be in the Democratic column, that could be the entire ball game. We've seen this play out before in New York. Congressman Hakeem Jeffries is very keen on becoming Speaker Hakeem Jeffries, and so he is eager to do anything he can to make sure that he holds on to that.
The thing is, there's actually a history of a quorum break-in.
38 districts. They're like, we need to gerrymander red states harder. Remember when I told you that they're going to go for, like, if you live in a blue state, it's like, you know, you got a level of protection there. In red states, that's the GOP, like Abbott is owned by Trump too. Okay, if you're a Republican, you are Trump. You are a Trump dick suck, and that is your only job out here, to be a Trump loyalist and nothing else, and do whatever the federal government controlled by Donald Trump wants you to do. So if you live in a red state, they're going for you first. They're going for reds. They're gonna do the most authoritarianism, absolute like anti-American politics in red states first, because you have Republicans there that are running it that will allow it to happen, and they're not going to fight for you. They're not going to fight for you at all.
In Texas,
Yes.
basically, where in the past, even the state rangers were called in to use force to make lawmakers come back. You're nodding. You remember this back in 2021. There is one person, a political science professor from the tells the Texas Tribune that there actually aren't that many options to force them to return. But there are some things, like they could take a novel aggressive measure, trimming the $20,000 monthly operating budgets given to House members to run their office, declaring the seats vacant, and triggering special elections. That's never been used.
And of course, there's the $500 daily fines for every day that
Yeah,
they're...
we're in unprecedented times, though, so expect it. Like, you should expect it by now. We're in those times where they will be using things that they've never used before and try to lie, cheat, and steal. They have to, because you can't come back from the pit that the Republican Party has gone into. There's no climbing out of it. I mean, there's nothing you can do other than to go further into it and keep double and tripling down if you're in that area. There's nothing that they are fully in their beliefs. Their ego protects them from truth and facts or whatever, and that's what they're comfortable with. So. United States Transportation Security Sean Duffy will announce expedited plans this week to build nuclear reactor on the moon. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's definitely something we should do. You know, and I'm thinking of everything that's going on. Nuclear reactor on the moon? Fuck, let's do it. You know what I mean? It needs one. You know what I mean? You know, what is the moon without a nuclear reactor? You know, it's just a boring moon. You know what I mean? We look up at it every day and we're like, oh god, that's such a boring place. Man, it would be sick if we had a nuclear reactor on there. Democrats would hate that. God, that would trigger the libs so hard. Fuck yeah, let's put nuclear reactor. Then we can get the zombie map up there. We can go do zombies IRL on the moon. But nuclear? Well, what if we're just... It would be bad if we lost our moon, like our world, the globe will be fucked. So maybe that. All right, we build a nuclear reactor on there, and then we're all sitting on here and we watch it explode, and then it's like Rogue One, and we can all like look, and finally, the Armageddon that was promised by the Christians were brought to us by MAGA. They did it. Damn it, boy. Oh boy. Okay. Yeah, I don't care. Like, space is cool, but when it comes to putting that over Americans' benefits and stripping rights away, like, what do I care about an Artemis mission I wish I could care about how cool an Artemis mission would be. You know what I mean? Because I like space and I like all that, and I actually do. I'm interested in it. I'm not smart when it comes to space. I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to the math or any of that. But I'm just interested in it. But I don't I'm not gonna care to support that when it comes to number one, stripping free speech from Americans for speaking against Israel, or your Social Security and Medicare getting stripped away from you. Oh, great, we can watch the Artemis mission while we're all in the streets and struggling to pay bills. But the Artemis mission went well, I guess. Cool. But like, I'm just not, like, I get it, but I try selling that to Americans right now. Like, hey guys, nuclear reactor on the moon. Hear me out. They're going to be like, what? Like, a what now? Why are we doing that? I love Israel. Look, man, I swear he's America first and not compromised by the Jewish state of Israel. Just trust the plan. It's like that's what they do. MAGA, this happened to all of us that supported Ukraine in 2023. Not all of us, because, like, that's honestly, you guys want to know what destroyed NAFO the first time of Ukraine supporters? Was October 7th, unfortunately. And the absolute requirement to support Israel on the same level of Ukraine. And it was by a lot of people that, like, originally supported Ukraine at first, because that happened first, and Russia invaded Ukraine. And a lot of people that then got attached to a social media movement and like war stuff, and they had like the NAFO banners and the flags on. And then October 7th happened, and then they all flipped their flags to Israeli flags, and then it was like, oh well, hey man, you know, Israel has the right to protect itself, but dude, they're like bombing civilians, and like I'm covering Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and like Russia's bombing civilians, and then I see Israel do that, and that's pretty wrong, right? No, what are you, anti-Semitic? What are you, an anti-Semite? Like, oh damn, well, it's the last time I talk about this because I can't support that, and I'm not like, and there's a big contingent of people now that somehow both support Israel and Ukraine now, I guess. And like, we have to support both. And I'm just not doing that. SecDef has a great, okay, we're done today. That's it, chat. SecDef has great jeans. Those jeans look dog shit and look wrinkled anyways. Oh my, yeah, great jeans. Backwater ass trailer park jeans. More like in mutt. All right, I'm done. That's enough. Has great jeans. Like I said, the Sydney Sweeney thing, I don't care. She's hot. Hope the best for her. But the GOP and the Republicans are forcing a conspiracy with that, and I don't care. And most people don't either. Okay? There's going to be a lot of drama with this administration, guys. Just stay focused. Okay? I got you. I haven't left. I'm not going anywhere. Okay? I always say, I'm still here. I just can't do the day-to-day drama of the politics. I can't do it. Like, I will lose my mind. So I go and distract myself with video games. When it comes to breaking news, current events, like, we're on it. And we're on it. Protests, IRL events, all on top of it. I'll be out there. Okay? We'll have a little bit longer of a stream this week with news, but I got my softball. We got softball today, guys. We got our playoffs. Playoffs and championship will be next week. So if you guys want to come over and watch the Renegade softball team and support our community softball team, come on over to Renegade softball. Okay, I'm going to be out there. I'm actually going to leave here pretty quick and get out there so I can go stretch and get ready for the games. But we're going to be playing all night if we keep playing. So first game's at 7:15 p.m. Eastern. 7:15 p.m. Eastern. Come on over and check us out. I'll put the link in the chat here. But also, you can join my Discord server. You get notified of our softball team and our streams. So come on over, guys. Check it out. Also, I have a gaming channel you can check out. Mercado Gaming. Mercado Gaming. This is where you'll find us when I'm avoiding talking about political drama. You guys can come and find me over here. You're like, oh man, I miss Mercado. I wish you. I've been live every day. I have been live every single day. Okay, I haven't gone anywhere. Look, we had a Battlefield 6 event. Oh, you know what I mean? Like, we're over there. I'm just not interested in the drama. Okay, when it's serious issues, I will talk about the serious issues, but I don't care what he said, she said, unless it's like Trump and stripping rights away from Americans. I care about that. All right, so come on over, check it out, guys. Mercado Gaming, Renegades, Softball. You can join the Discord. Oops. How do you feel about that? That's for my video. You can join the Discord server to make sure that you get notified of Mercado Media, Renegade Softball, and video games. I appreciate all your guys' support. Follow the page, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new to the channel. We have, like I said, breaking news, current events, politics, all here on the channel. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a good night. Fuck Vladimir Putin and Trump. Peace.